Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lawrence, you are the Deputy Executive Assistant Administrator for Security Operations for TSA under the United States Department of Homeland Security, correct?
That is correct.
Mr. Gorman, you are the Deputy Executive Assistant Administrator for Operations Support for TSA under DHS, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so just so America knows, we got two of the honchos here in front of us as it relates to TSA regulations and the effort to introduce security enhancements for our industry partners that fall under the jurisdictional authority of TSA, like our stakeholders running rail and pipelines. In the effort to protect our nation's infrastructure from cyber threat, largely Americans feel quite vulnerable from cyber threat. From sea to shining sea, we are not reassured by what we read in the news every day about a major cyber breach in this industry, a major cyber breach from that massive bank, another major cyber breach in this large government entity. Americans generally get it, that this thing is a moving target and it is a serious threat, and we as a nation, we have to respond. So TSA has its role to play, and Congress has given the Transportation Security Administration the authority to issue what are called security directives. Is that correct, gentlemen?
That is correct.
Okay, so in that time frame, which is in recent history, since 2021, in the effort as a nation to respond to cyber threats, the TSA has issued security directives intended for use against specific threat assessment or threats. However, those security directives have been referenced as generally disruptive to operations and requiring a great deal of coordinated effort at the implementation point that takes away from actual monitoring of threat. There's only so many staff available within the actual entities that operate, say in our rail and pipelines. And if those men and women that are dedicated, they work in that office, if they have to spend so much of their time and energy complying with the regulatory requirements, then they're not investing that energy in the actual monitoring of threats and responding to threats. So we have a responsibility to attempt to do better. Not that the initial effort was not well intended, and it's just that we're dealing with an emerging and complex threat for the first time in our history. So, Mr. Lorenz and Mr. Gorman, 2 years ago, Congress passed legislation setting guidelines for reporting cyber attacks at 72 hours. You have to report this within 72 hours to streamline this in the interest of time. Yet in TSA's rule, 72 hours. So in TSA's rule said, well, we're going to do it within 24 hours. And the Securities and Exchange Commission finalized rules in 2022 saying it had 4 business days. So there's a variety of actual implementation responses happening across the government entities that we must harmonize. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to introduce into the record a media report from November of this year regarding the bipartisan effort to clean up cyber regulations and to pass legislation that indeed does harmonize our cybersecurity efforts. That would be H.R. 10123.
Without objection.
Thank you. Gentlemen, we we probably have time if the chairman would indulge. Do you see anything more important, Mr. Lorenz and Mr. Gorman, anything more important than harmonization of our security efforts to protect our nation's infrastructure from cyber threat?
TSA supports the overall goal of harmonizing cybersecurity requirements with our industry stakeholders. This is an area specifically where we asked for feedback in the NPRM, and based on that feedback, based on other efforts and interagency discussions that are ongoing, we anticipate to be able to incorporate that as we move forward into the final rule stage.
Thank you, Mr. Lorenz.
Yeah, I just wanted to also add to Chad's point that it's really important for us to make sure that we continue to collaborate with our stakeholders and provide and receive feedback. And to your question and to your comment, I think it's really important to also address, since May of 2021, just in the surface realm, we have held over 300 industry engagements, whether it's briefings or calls, to make sure that industry had the opportunity to provide feedback so we can receive that feedback and pivot accordingly. And also within the aviation sector, just this year alone, we have had the opportunity to receive feedback from our aviation partners over 126 times to make sure that we understood and we received the feedback based on their operational needs and necessities. So we continue to listen, because I think it's really, really important to understand that we're on a journey together. And I really, really appreciate the question and the thought about harmonization as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the indulgence.